Good morning, everyone. On today's episode, Square Enix completely changes their game release strategy. Marvel Rivals does a total 180 on their attitude towards criticism of their upcoming game. And YouTube deletes everyone's revenue. Yeah, all this and more on today's upcoming episode of the Level 1 Podcast. Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. I'm DSP, and this is the Level 1 Podcast on DSPGaming. Today is the 13th of May, 2024, and today we are jumping back into full-time gaming. As you know, every Sunday we take a little bit of a departure from my gaming schedule to do a React Day. Well, today we get back into the swing of things here on the channel with more Another Crab's Treasure and the return of Helldivers 2 after a 2-week hiatus. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a little bit. But today, we have a big, packed news segment. We got stuff going on all over the place. Like all the news stories I mentioned. Oh, yeah, by the way, Ubisoft completely, or not Ubisoft, Ubisoft completely leaking the release date of their next Assassin's Creed game completely by accident. They just can't win. These companies these days, they all want to be so digital, right? They're like, everything we want to be is, hip and in the know. So we're going to have a scheduled stream where we're going to reveal everything. And then they put all the data about what they're going to reveal in the stream in the description. You can't make this shit up how dumb these people are. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're ready for a fun day here today. I am. As usual, what I'd like to do is to go through my usual segments. We'll talk a little bit about how yesterday went, update the schedule for the rest of the week, and then news stories, because we have quite a few different... Hi, Jasper. We have quite a few different news stories to cover today. Jasper's in the office right now. He was sleeping in the closet, but he came out to say hello. Maybe he'll jump on the chair. I bet he will. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're ready to jump back into gameplay today. I'll be honest. I'm actually enjoying these few days away from Street Fighter. Not to say that Street Fighter 6, I don't like it, but this grind I've been having with Zangief has taken a lot out of me. Trying to get Zangief to master rank before the patch update on May 22nd that's going to rebalance the game has been incredibly daunting. Probably the most challenging gameplay I've had in the game because everyone now knows the meta. It's now almost a year since the game came out. And playing with a lower tier character, it's so stressful. So I'm actually having a good time, having several days away from Street Fighter, which is a good thing, and I've been really enjoying the time with you guys, hanging out, talking, having fun while I'm either reacting or playing other games. Good stuff. So, in line with that, let's recap a little bit about yesterday's content. So, yesterday was React Day. On the DSP Reacts channel, which is youtube.com/@DSP Reacts, we did our usual weekly show, DSP versus the Internet, where I watch clips as submitted by the channel members of a wide variety of topics. Yesterday was no exception. We had serial killer documentaries. We learned about what GMOs are and organic food and the difference between them and the truth about them scientifically. We found out about how a lot of tech and hardware from the old days is now starting to decay and fall apart, probably by design, among many other things. There was a lot of good videos submitted and a lot of great variety of topics. So if you have not seen the show yet, 2 parts went live yesterday, another part went live this morning, and 3 more parts will be going live over the course of this week over on the DSP Reacts channel, so I hope you will check it out. Remember, if you become a member over there, number 1, you get access to the archive stream immediately. You can actually see all of those parts of the stream right there on the channel without waiting. And then number 2, if you are either a submissions tier or ultra tier supporter of the channel, you submit the clips. Those are the people who actually submit the clips for the show. I didn't even mean to have the air conditioner on. Let me turn this back to fan. There we go. Yeah, those are the people who submit the clips for the actual show. So you are literally the people who choose the clips that I watch every week, okay? So please go give it a look. Now, last night's Throwback stream was awesome. On my DSP Throwback channel, we finished The Walking Dead the Telltale series Season 1 Retro React, meaning we watched back my original playthrough of that game from 2012. And let me tell you, it was fun. It was sad. It was very emotional. It was epic to relive that moment. You know, a lot of people said that that ending of that playthrough was one of the most emotional moments that I'd done in gaming up until that time. It really was the first time that I felt like I teared up playing a video game on YouTube. And so it was really cool to relive that with all of you live, because originally I was an offline gamer. I wasn't live streaming. I wasn't even doing direct capture. But to see a live audience's reaction to everything happening at the end of that game was awesome. And I just want to say thank you, because yesterday, great streams, good support, good engagement everywhere. You know, everything was good. Thumbs up for a fun React Day to break up the content. I really appreciate that. So it's all good. Now, FYI, 2 big updates regarding the DSP Throwback channel. All right, first of all, Final Fantasy 13 will conclude on that channel on the 16th. Let's see, a new part went live today. No, the 15th, because the new part went live today. And then the final part of Final Fantasy 13 will actually go live this Wednesday, the 15th. And the final part is like 50 minutes long, which is way longer than the other parts of the playthrough. But being that it's just the final boss fight and the final cutscenes, it made no sense to split it up. We just made it one long part. So finally, after 4+ months, remember, Final Fantasy 13 was the first Throwback playthrough that I put on that channel. It took that long, 4 months to finish it. I think it's like 60-some parts, like 63 parts or something like that. So, you know, it's basically like 32 hours of a playthrough. It's finally going to be complete as of the middle of this week. And that means we can go to the next game. The next game for DSP Throwback is L.A. Noire. My editors are already working on it. And the premiere, if everything goes according to plan and there's no delays, is going to be this coming, is it Thursday? Let's see, 13, 14, 15. No, it will be Friday. This coming Friday, May 16th, will be the premiere of the first part of L.A. Noire. Now, this is very notable. All right, not 6. Did I say 16th? I meant to say 17th. It's the 17th, Friday the 17th. The reason this date is notable is because it was actually May 17th, 2011, when I uploaded my first part of L.A. Noire to the internet when the game was brand new. So this is actually the 13-year anniversary of the game releasing, and I'm releasing it on exactly the same day that I started playing the game 13 years ago. That's pretty crazy, right? I mean, be honest, it's a coincidence. Like, it wasn't intended. It wasn't lined up that way. It's just an incredible coincidence that it's actually lined up that way. So, if you like L.A. Noire, if you're sad that my original playthrough from 13 years ago has been missing from the internet for years and years, well, guess what? You can start watching it again this coming Friday on DSP Throwback, and the new part will premiere pretty much every other day. You know, there'll be a few times maybe there'll be some editing delays, but for the most part, it's fairly consistent. Okay? So that's one piece of good news. The other piece of good news is that last night we posted up the poll on the main channel page community tab of DSP Throwback to determine what will be the next Retro React event that we're going to start next Sunday night. So, FYI, just listen to these awesome options. And to tell you, the people who were there on live stream when I announced these options were completely torn and didn't know how to vote. So here's what we've got. The continuation of Dark Souls 1, my original run from 2011, where I had no idea what I was doing. It's really a hilarious playthrough of watching me just fail miserably and suffer through it. We would actually pick up at the Taurus Demon, because that's where I was when we had stopped watching months ago. So we would do another 2 to 2.5 hours reacting to that. My original Metal Gear Solid 1 playthrough, which is the PS1 version that I did many, many years ago. This was at the same time that I was playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. I think it was right after I'd beaten those games, and people were dying to see me play the first one. At this point, I was very irreverent. I constantly ragged on Hideo Kojima and made stupid, inappropriate jokes. And the visual quality is terrible, so it definitely would be a relic of the past. My original God of War 3 playthrough from when it was a new release on the PlayStation 3. This is one of the earliest full playthroughs that I ever did on the internet. It's actually back on my original Dark Side Phil channel. And this playthrough is pretty epic. A lot of rage. Again, a lot of inappropriate commentary. Some funny scenes that I edited into the playthrough to avoid adult content on YouTube at the time. And by the way, this was before the era of monetization. Like, I didn't even monetize that playthrough at the time because it was before I was in any kind of a partner program and was able to do so. So it's a very different kind of game. You know what I'm saying? And then last and certainly not least, this is the one that shocked everyone when I announced it. And everyone was like, oh, yeah, this is a good idea. Mario and Sonic at the 2012 London Olympic Games co-op with John Rambo and Joe. This was, in my opinion, one of the best co-op playthroughs I ever did in my entire history as a YouTuber. We're all having insane amounts of fun. We're joking with each other. We're trolling each other as we play. This playthrough is such an awesome, positive playthrough. There's times when, you know, over the years, I feel down or depressed about something, and I go watch that playthrough, and it literally cheers me up because it's just genuine fun between friends. And I love that playthrough. So that would be something, if you want to laugh your ass off, regardless of if it even wins a poll, go check out that Mario and Sonic 2012 London Olympic Games playthrough. You're going to laugh so hard because it is such a great playthrough. Now, those are 4 amazing options in my opinion. Like, no exaggeration, I would love to react to any of those. They all sound really, really good to me. But I'm wondering, now that that poll's been live for about 12, 13 hours, what's winning? So actually, let's just take an initial look. I'm going to refresh the poll and see the results. Wow. Well, according to the results, which I don't know if these are skewed or not, because it says 824 votes, which makes me feel like, yes, it is skewed. Right now, people want the continuation of Dark Souls 1 by a huge margin. It actually looks like, if you take a look at the voting, okay? So, in last place is God of War 3. In next to last place is Metal Gear Solid 1. Only 1% of the vote above that is Mario and Sonic. And then somehow winning by like 50% of the vote is Dark Souls 1. Now, do I really believe that there's 824 legitimate people who voted on that poll overnight? No. Do you want to know how I know it's not legit? Because the average viewer base on the channel is 100 to 200 viewers a video. So where did 800 people come from to vote on that poll overnight, right? It's just a bunch of dunce trolls. But at the same time, I don't mind playing or watching Dark Souls 1. I know that playthrough is genuinely funny and good. Okay? So, if you haven't voted yet, please do make your voice heard. And likely what we're going to do, just so everybody knows, we are not locking in to doing any playthrough in its entirety. All right? I just want to make that clear. Yes, for these narrative-based playthroughs of Heavy Rain and Walking Dead, we did that, right? Like, once we started playing them, people were like, oh, keep going. We want to see the whole story. But since we're now doing action-based games, like literally every one of those games is an action-based game, correct? We don't have to do them every week. We could actually alternate. Like maybe this coming week, if Dark Souls wins the poll, maybe we do Dark Souls 1 on Sunday night. Then maybe the next week, we do Mario and Sonic. Maybe the next week, we do Metal Gear Solid. And that way, we constantly have variety for Retro React, and it's not just the same every single week. I'm totally okay with that, okay? And I think that might be the way to go, is to kind of go in a rotation so that way it doesn't get stale. I'll be honest, I liked doing Heavy Rain and Walking Dead, but I'm feeling like I want more variety on the channel at this point. I just don't want it to always be the same game every week. So I think that might be the way to go. Okay, so let's let this poll roll over the week. Let's see what happens. I'm going to stick to whatever wins the poll. So if Dark Souls 1 actually does win the poll, we will do that on Sunday night coming up this week. But then what we might do is actually rotate, or maybe even go by like what was second place, what was third place, and rotate through those over the course of the next month for Retro React streams. I think that would do well, and I think that would bring in a good variety of people watching different content of mine over the years. It might be really awesome, okay? So sounds good. All right, please vote if you have not, okay? Cool. All right, let's now talk about the schedule for the rest of the week. And then we got a nice, big, chunky news segment today to talk about. So, today, we return to another Crab's Treasure. And I'm really excited about the stream today. Here's why. We played it on Saturday night, which was the first night stream we ever did of the game. And during that stream, I beat an entire dungeon, fought the toughest boss in the game so far, this big electric eel. And when we beat it, we got the ability to use our own electric eel to electrify those little crab robots. Now, those crab robots will activate cranes and platforms that are going to allow us to get to other optional areas that previously we could not reach. And there's a lot of these in the environment that we found and we're never able to interact with. So today, priority 1, we're going to go back to the main seabed open world, and we're just going to go all around the outer edges of this map, hitting up all the robots and unlocking all of the optional content that we missed earlier on because we couldn't do it. Then we're going to probably return to the Veil, and if I remember correctly, I know specifically where there's one of those robots in the Veil from that stream Saturday night, but I think there might have been more in the actual Veil area. I might have to look it up, or someone might have to look it up for me, because I certainly don't want to spend an hour redoing the Veil dungeon if there's nothing there. But basically my goal today, go back to all the crab robots, enable them all, get all the items, and if there's secret enemies and secret bosses, fight them, okay? And then once all that's done, which I don't know if we'll even finish that today, then we're going to head into the next part of the game, which is you electrify the boat. The boat takes you out to this barge, and that's where the next, I guess, dungeon and challenges of the game. So, good stuff. I'm really enjoying this game. At this point, we are a good chunk, a good stretch into the crab game. We are 17 hours into another crab's treasure, okay? And still going. I think the reports were that if you just kind of rush through it, you can beat it in about 16 hours. But if you do all the optional exploration and bosses and content, it's like 23, 24 hours. So we're on pace right now to basically be wrapping it up likely either this week or next week, okay? Good stuff. So that's today's major stream. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are going to stick around after the podcast for it because it's a really great Souls-like game. It's really grown on me, and I'm really enjoying it. Every time we play, there's something new and different going on in the game that's really fun. A new ability or a new shell that I've gotten, and it's really neat in that regard. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing my Anchors shirt in honor of another crab's treasure. There you go. Look at those nice boat anchors on my shirt to tie in with the game today. Pretty good. Nice nautical theme. We have like some nice undersea colors around me as well, as you can see. Okay. Tonight on the late stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, it is the continuation of Helldivers 2. Now listen, I know I haven't played Helldivers 2 in over 2 weeks. There's a very good reason for it. You know, number one, didn't really seem to be that much demand for it. The last time that I played Helldivers 2 on a late stream, it didn't really work. Honestly, less people showed up, less engagement, and almost no support. So when that happens, that tells me maybe this game has kind of run its course. Perhaps we're in a situation where, yeah, it was great for about a month or whatever as I played it on and off, but there's really not that much else going on in the game. It's the same thing over and over. So maybe it's time to say, all right, whatever. You know, I'm of the impression that perhaps when they update this game in a major way, like when they update it with a third alien race or something like that, then I would jump back in. And listen, I definitely see the appeal of the game for people who are playing with a team of people all the time. But as you know, I don't do that. I'm playing solo, just jumping into other people's games. So because of that, I really feel that we're in a situation where this is a game that works for certain people and not others. All right? So I don't know what else to say besides we'll give it a shot again. It's been 2 weeks. It's been out of the rotation. Let's give it another shot tonight. If it works tonight, great. If it doesn't work, I don't know what else to say. Maybe that'll be it for Helldivers 2. Okay? Brian, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, am I banned on the channel DSP Throwback? My comment disappears when I switch from top chat to live. I already emailed you. I have no idea how that works. I don't know what YouTube considers a top comment or a live comment. If your comment is in top comments, top chat, it means you're not banned. That doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you be in top chat but not live? I don't even know. And if you said you already emailed me, then I probably already looked into it. And if you were banned, I tried to unban you. Email me again because I don't remember. And I'll have to look into it. Okay? All right. Tomorrow, Tuesday, it is the return of Fallout 4. We are having a lot of fun in Fallout 4 with my build, the Idiot Savant Melee build. We're actually getting to the point where now I'm going to get some of the really high-level upgrades that I feel is going to make me crazy powerful. And we're starting to hit up some of the major plot lines. Like right now we're in Good Neighbor and we're about to do that plot line where you like go into people's memories and stuff like that. So there's a few major plot lines to do. There's that one. There's the Brotherhood. I could start the Railroad, which I haven't even started yet. So there's various different plot lines that I could try out, depending on what people maybe want. Maybe we can do polls and stuff live to see which plot line would you like to see me do first or whatever, right? So anyway, good stuff coming in Fallout 4. It's always chill fun. I can't wait for that. Tuesday night, yes, it is the return of Street Fighter 6. Zangief frustration master madness as I try to get him to master and basically struggle. You know, Friday night was literally 2.5 hours of futility. For every time I won, I would then just lose again and lose all the points. And it was just so stress-inducing and so frustrating. I want to hit master with this character, but all the top-tier characters dominate him so bad, and it's so hard to get a win online. So I'm going to keep at it. The grind continues on Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, the day stream again will be another Crab's Treasure. Wednesday night is up in the air. Here's what I'm thinking. If people like Helldivers 2 tonight, then maybe we'll do it again Wednesday. If it doesn't do so well, then maybe Wednesday night we'll do a one-off stream of the Star Wars Battlefront collection, which is just always silly, broken fun. Somehow I've actually been doing good at it when I play it, and we always seem to have a good time hanging out and talking and enjoying each other's company when I play it anyway, so maybe we'll do that. So I'm just kind of leaving Wednesday night open as an option, okay? Now, next week is a big week, everyone. Next week, on Tuesday the 21st, it's the premiere of Hellblade 2. On Wednesday the 22nd, it's the premiere of Akuma and Street Fighter 6 and the big balance patch that changes the whole game. Likely, no exaggeration, all day Wednesday, I'm probably playing Street Fighter 6. So that way I can give Akuma a good shot and also try to figure out what the changes are to the balance and everything. Okay? So there you go. Next week will be exciting with double new release content for all of you. All right? Now, one other thing to remember. We're coming to the end of the week. And one of these nights, probably like Tuesday night or Wednesday night, I'm going to take a look at all the indie games that you guys have nominated for my upcoming Indies Marathon that's going to take place on Saturday, May 25th. That's right, all day. On Saturday, May 25th, we are breaking up my schedule to play indie games. All right? It should be a good time, a fun time, a lot different from what I usually do here. And I hope that you guys will join me for it, because I'm curious to see what variety of games we'll actually be playing that day. I genuinely don't know what games you guys are nominating yet. And I'm basically going to be looking at that and looking at the most nominated games. So if you have not nominated any indie games yet, now is your last chance, probably today or tomorrow. Type in !indies into the stream chat. It brings up a link. Click on the link. Post up indie games in that thread. If you see games already nominated in that thread that look good, be sure to nominate them yourself, because the most nominated games are going to hit that final poll that you guys will be voting on for about a week to determine what indie games will be played during that event. Okay? That's exciting. Plus, that day, I'm sure I'll have some food, maybe some booze. And the good thing about indie game events is that sometimes I find games that are so good, I end up actually playing them long term. It's not just like, oh, I just play them for the hour during the marathon. There'll be a few games that I like a lot, and I end up actually going and doing full playthroughs of. So I'm excited to see what we come up with that day. So very good stuff. Okay? All right, cool, guys. That is what I have for the schedule segment of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for my favorite segment. It is time for your favorite segment. It is time for everyone's genuinely favorite segment of the Level 1 podcast. It is time for Phil's Day Off on Monday. It is time for DSP News. I'm just kidding. And today on DSP News, we have quite a few topics to discuss. But before we get to the big news topics in gaming, I have a hilarious topic to talk about YouTube. In fact, just to confirm, I just want to check something quickly. Okay, so a funny thing happened this morning. You may have noticed, or you may have remembered, that about a week ago, maybe a little over a week ago it was, I explained to you guys that YouTube had done a big oopsie poopsie. As they were recoding the site, trying to improve stuff, they accidentally broke everyone's @address links. Meaning, if you wanted to go to a YouTube channel, like my React channel, which is youtube.com/@DSP Reacts, if you type that into a web browser, it would give you a 404 error as if the channel had been removed from YouTube, even though it hadn't and was still fully functional. This kind of thing literally happens all the time. YouTube is one of the few businesses out there that they don't test anything. I'm just going to repeat that. They literally don't test anything before they launch it. They just launch it and hope for the best. And half the time, when they do something and change it, they screw it all up. And then what happens is we're the end user beta testers of their fuck ups. And then we have to figure out what they broke, report it to them, and then they'll fix it after the fact without ever admitting that they did any wrong. Okay? Well, you might say, well, you know, for like 4 or 5 days, not being able to access a YouTube channel via the ad address isn't that big of a deal. Well, you're actually right, because if you had subscribed to a channel, it still showed up. You still were going to get notifications of the videos. The videos still showed up. Still, revenue was still made. The only difference was you couldn't access it from the @ link. So some people erroneously actually thought that channels had been like deleted from YouTube when they had it. Okay? So, unfortunate that it happened. It took maybe about a week, and then they fixed it. And then I noticed all the links worked again. But everything was kind of broken for about a week, including everyone who used those links for stuff like I did. And they were all broken, but I fixed it basically. Okay? Okay. So, why am I bringing this up? Because this week, YouTube had another oopsie poopsie. Only this one really had people freaking out. Okay? This morning, YouTube decided to recode both their app API as well as the channel API. What does that mean? It means that the data feeds that we as YouTubers get to track statistics, like analytics, like how are my videos doing? How many views did they get? How much engagement? How much money? All of that. They broke it all this morning. Okay? But the problem was they fixed part of it right away, but then it took them over 2 hours to fix another part of it. So the API was broken for maybe 10 minutes when it came to views and everything. So everyone's channel showed 0, as if no one had any videos. And they're like, what? Then they fixed that. Okay. But guess what they broke? Revenue. So this morning, between the hours of like 8 a.m. to around like 10:45, 11 a.m., okay? If you tried to check your YouTube channel for any kind of revenue data, it basically said that you made $0 or any revenue, if you're pounds, whatever it is, from the days of April 14th until today. All of your data was erased. You could click around on every video. They all read as $0. You click on your memberships, 0. Click on ad revenue, 0. It all deleted. So people started to freak out, and you can actually take a look. If you look at the X app and you look at people posting YouTube revenue, for like a 2-hour span, people kept tagging, the YouTube creators account, freaking out. Like, what the hell is going on? Am I losing my revenue? What's happening? Like, what the hell? Why would they do that, right? But then after about 2 hours or so, it started to slowly load. And now, as of this now, it actually works again. So is this a huge deal? No. But just imagine that you're like a YouTuber and like this is the time of a week where you do your work or whatever, and oh, look, I mean, $0 for a whole month. Like, what is going on? Someone like me, yeah, this would affect me huge. Imagine if they screwed up and it wasn't a 2-hour screw up, but a 2-week screw up. Well, I'm supposed to get paid next week. How am I going to pay my bills if I don't get paid by YouTube because they screwed up their API and deleted the revenue data, right? So this is a problem. YouTube infamously makes these F-ups, and then they try to fix them hurriedly after the fact. There's going to be a day when they're going to break something and they can't fix it right away. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is dumb that they just allow the coders to have free reign of the site and not test anything. How do you let them break all the data on the site? They literally broke every piece of data and then had to hurriedly within 3 hours fix it. It's like, that is so dumb. So anyway, is it a huge deal? No, it's not, because they did fix it right away. But it's just another example of YouTube always screwing up this whole site and then having to fix it fast. It's just dumb. And it's like, I feel like at one point they are going to make an error they can't just hurriedly fix, and something's going to hit the fan. You know what I'm saying? But for now, at least, it was just kind of a temporary thing. For me, I was eating breakfast. Like, for me, I wasn't freaking out or anything. I was like, so I'm having my bagel, and I go to check my videos. I'm like, oh, there's like no data at all on this. Oh, that's good. Because I like to check stuff. For example, one thing I'm still checking is part 1 of my Fallout 4 playthrough, which about 3 weeks ago, remember, it hit the YouTube algorithm, and it currently has like 32,000 views and is still getting some residual views. I'm owed revenue on that video, but YouTube tried to claim it for music, so I disputed it. Well, it's been 3 weeks, and guess what? YouTube still didn't grant the claim. It's still in the review process, which makes no sense because the criteria of YouTube says 2 weeks. but for some reason they hold it for a month anyway because they don't even abide by their own legal rules. So I'm still waiting on that, and it's like every day I try to check, hey, did it clear up yet? Hey, did I actually make some money on that video considering how well it did? And it's nothing. It's like, wow, nothing on that video. I can't make any revenue on it until they clear this up. Anyway, that was just the first piece of news. Let's now get into all the big updates, okay? Update number 1, and this one's a pretty funny story. So, this morning, it was announced that by Ubisoft that Assassin's Creed Shadows is the official title of the upcoming new Assassin's Creed game. It was previously called Assassin's Creed Codename Red. This game will have an official cinematic world premiere trailer coming on May 15th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. They've already have the trailer uploaded to YouTube and scheduled to go live. The game will be on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S, but not last gen. It will not be on PS4 or Xbox One, so if you still have one of those legacy consoles, sadly, it's about time to buy a new one because you can't play new games on it anymore. Okay, no more cross-gen porting. Now, here's the hilarious part about this. So, they announced this morning, okay, and posted it up. Everyone's like, oh, that's cool. So people immediately go and check out the video because they have a scheduled video. In the description of the video, Ubisoft, whoever runs their YouTube account, idiotically put all the information about the game in the video description. So it says right in the video description, Assassin's Creed Shadow releasing on November 15th, 2024. Oh. So I don't need to watch the trailer because I already have the data because you put it in the fucking description of the video. Like, do you guys remember when, like, there used to be, like, an air of professionalism around, like, business? Remember that? We'd be like, oh, something official, so we're going to hype it up, but we're going to be all, air secrecy and make sure it's under wraps and make sure nothing leaks. Today, it's like, you're lucky if your entire game isn't on the internet before the game releases. This is ridiculous. How the hell did they manage to put the release date in the video and not realize it? So now it's the beans are spilled. There is a new Assassin's Creed game this year, and it is supposed to be, I guess, a full-fledged one. By the way, this is the one that's set in Japan, okay? But if you want to know actual details of the game, you have to watch that trailer when it goes live on Wednesday morning. And so I'll probably watch it Wednesday morning and talk about it here on the podcast, okay? Cool. So Assassin's Creed Shadows, that's something my wife will be interested in because she loves Assassin's Creed, and I'm sure that I'll be talking about that more this week. We have a follow-up to yesterday's story. Oh, by the way, hold on. Sorry about that. Oh, no, wait. I'm not there yet. We didn't get to that story yet. Sorry, I almost jumped the gun. Never mind. We'll talk about something else in a second. We have a follow-up to yesterday's story about Marvel Rivals. If you don't know yesterday's story about Marvel Rivals, in a nutshell, Marvel Rivals is an upcoming game that's a team-based combat game similar to Overwatch, only it has Marvel characters in it, and it's more third-person than first-person. Right now, it's only on PC, and it's in the alpha phase, and they're running daily giveaways for alpha codes to get into this alpha and play it. People who are playing it seem to really like it and say it plays like old-school Overwatch, and that's what they're looking for, and they're happy that there is a game that plays like that. However, the game got into a lot of hot water when they released their... Jasper Kitty, what are you doing? Jasper Kitty, I'm trying to tell a news story, Jasper Kitty. You're distracting everybody. Jasper Kitty, stop that. Oh, my goodness. So, Marvel Rivals made a lot of controversy when their terms for use for content creators were released, and basically content creators who wanted to make content about Marvel Rivals had to agree to, listen to this, a contract that said they could not give any negative criticisms of the game at all. They were only allowed to say positive things about the game if they wanted to make content of it. Now, if you want my full thoughts on this, check out yesterday's podcast. There's a good half-hour segment about it, how the games industry has always kind of had this unspoken rule that was the case. If you get something early or free, Just don't talk bad about it, and you'll continue to be in the good graces of these game publishers, and they'll keep sending you stuff for free. So you profit, they profit, everyone profits, and essentially it's an endless array of paid advertisement that really is disguised as content, okay? But this is the first time ever that an actual game publisher outright gave a contract stating this in writing, okay? So a lot of players had backlash and were like, oh, so maybe the reason everyone on the internet is saying that this game is good is because they have to. They're afraid they're going to lose access or not be able to get any kind of priority coverage of the game later if they don't say the game is good now, and they're not allowed to say anything negative. So a lot of bad press hit the internet yesterday regarding this. I was one of the people who covered the topic, but many others did as well. So, Jasper, are you seriously chewing a wire in the middle of this story? Jasper Kitty, stop right now. No chewing of wires, you understand? Don't chew the wires when I'm telling an important news story. Jasper is the equivalent of the baby that ran into the guy's office when he was doing the news story. Remember that video from years ago where the guy's he's on a show on the internet and this kid just runs in behind him in the walker and starts like doing stuff in the office? Jasper's the same. He's just here to distract me. I can't finish the story. Jasper, stop it right now. Stop this right now. Wires alone. Not allowed to chew wires. Oh, okay. Well, if there was no big internet backlash, I would almost guarantee you that Marvel Rivals would have kept this in their contract. However, today, Marvel Rivals posted up an official statement on social media. I'm going to read it word for word. Are you ready for this? Here it is. Dear Marvel Rivals players, today is the third day of the closed alpha test, and we are truly grateful for all the love and support from the community. We would like to take this opportunity to address the concerns we've seen regarding the agreement terms and content creator programs, and above all, we would like to apologize for any unpleasant experiences or doubts caused by the miscommunication of those terms. I'm just going to stop them right there. Wrong. There's no miscommunication. You, in legal writing, said no one can criticize your game. That's not miscommunication. That's you saying what you want, and now that people called you out for it, now you're going to backpedal. There is no miscommunication whatsoever. It's not even the meaning of the word. They're acting like it is to try to save face when it's not. Let's be clear here, okay? All right. Continuing on. The Content Creator Program is a small-scale project that aims to aid in the production of incredible content by supporting creators through giving them more resources. We actively encourage creators to share their honest thoughts, suggestions, and criticisms as they play. All feedback, positive and negative, ultimately helps us craft the best experience for ourselves and the players. We sincerely apologize for the confusion, suspicion, and frustration caused by these excessively restrictive terms, and thank you for sharing with us. We cherish and appreciate every suggestion given by our players, and we always respect your feedback. We are currently working with creators who have expressed these concerns and are revising the current version to be less restrictive and more creator-friendly. Thank you for bearing with us while we make these adjustments. We hope you're enjoying the game so far, and we always are open to hearing your sincere thoughts and ideas on room for improvement. So basically, oops, we paid a lawyer to create a contract for us that was super restrictive because that's exactly what we want. We don't want anyone bad-mouthing our game. But we didn't expect that there would be community backlash for it. So now we're going to say that there was miscommunication and confusion when there literally was none. Literally, the contract said, do not criticize the game negatively or you know, this is part of the terms of playing it now. So it's bullshit. Like, what they're saying is literally a lie. This is blowing smoke up your butt. This is their PR team lying to you to try to say, oh, it wasn't intentional, was not what we meant. Yes, it is. You legally drew up a document that had those statements in them. You can't misconstrue or misunderstand. No one misunderstood the statements. It's we read them and understood them. That was the problem. There's no confusion. There is suspicion and frustration, as they said, but there's no confusion. Okay? Yes, Jasper is attempting to get into the closet right now. That's what he's doing. He's trying to open the door and go in there. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. Let me open it for him because if he might kick my light. What a nut. Okay. So Marvel Rivals does a 180, and apparently they're claiming they're going to revise the contract, so now you can criticize the game. But again, even though they're going to do that, does this not expose the industry? There's always been the unspoken rule that you should not criticize a game that you get free or get early access to, because it's you scratch my back, I scratch yours, symbiotic relationship, right? We know this. Even if it's not in writing, it's not legal. We know that this exists. Because why else would content creators even jump into these opportunities? They get the game early. Now they get early views, early support from their viewers, right? Why do you think there's people right now playing the Street Fighter 6 update before anyone else can play it for over a week? Why do you think people are playing any game early? I'm sure there's some people who are going to be playing Hellblade 2 early. There's people who are going to be playing, maybe have early access to the multiverses before it's publicly available, right? This always happens. This is a sycophantic, very messed up relationship. It should not exist. It's very, very preferential. It's very, very negative. Okay? So it shouldn't happen. And quite frankly, you know my take on it. You want my full take? Watch yesterday's podcast. But are we shocked that Marvel Rivals did a 180? No. Am I interested in Marvel Rivals? I am. I just don't know if Marvel Rivals will run on my mini PC. If it does, I'd be interested in playing it. I loved early Overwatch. In 2016, I played the heck out of Overwatch. I thought it was a great game. I was sad to see it change over the years, and then basically now it's just dead. It's a dead, obscure game. No one plays Overwatch 2 to any extent like they used to play Overwatch 1. It's pretty dang sad. So, all right. Our final news story for today is a big one. All right? So basically there's a big Square Enix What the heck are you doing? Making all that noise. Made all that racket. What was that? Distracted the heck out of me today. You nut. I'm closing the door now. Okay. Square Enix had a big event where they started talking about all kinds of stuff. But there's two pieces of information. One sounds really good and one sounds really bad. So what do you want first? The good news or the bad news? Right? All right, I guess I'll do the good news first. Square Enix is having a complete change in attitude when it comes to their releases. And get this, they're no longer going to do console exclusive games at all. They have decided that after the performance of Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, that they now want to do a cross release between PC, PlayStation, and Xbox all at once. They do, and Nintendo sometimes. They even noted it, Nintendo, rather than just PlayStation. I guess they're finally admitting that their PlayStation exclusive partnership has failed them and cost them tons of sales that they otherwise would have gotten. Okay? This is a huge shift. You know, this is a big difference from their previous attitude. And a lot of people strongly criticize them for only putting their new games on PlayStation. So, definitely, I feel like this is going to help them. I mean, we talked directly about this when Final Fantasy 16 came out, that this is a game that if it was cross-platform, maybe would have done better. The weird thing about Final Fantasy 16 is that it actually didn't run so well on PlayStation 5, but it was a PlayStation 5 exclusive. So it didn't even make sense, right? So anyway, huge change for them. Because previously they were Sony. And now after having not one but two underwhelming sales performances, and yes, I'm going to repeat that, because Square Enix likes to not be honest and transparent. They've now had two straight Final Fantasy games that are sales flops for them. They were expecting Final Fantasy 16 to break records. It did not. They were expecting Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth to top remake. It did not. They wanted these games to be their biggest ever, and they were underachieving for them. They weren't failures. They weren't miserable disappointments, but they did not make the revenue that they were looking for. So now they're kind of blaming the console exclusivity and saying, man, maybe that's what it was. Because first of all, they're noticing that these games are doing well on PC, right? All these games now that are going cross-platform seem to be doing well. And then in addition to that, yeah, I mean, they probably would have sold some Xbox games as well. So it's a problem. It's a problem that now I think they're going to address. So is this a good news? Yes, it is. especially for those of us who don't own a PS5 and like Square Enix games. Now you know you don't have to own a PS5 to play them all. You know, basically if you have any platform, you should be good. So that's a good thing. But now we got the bad news. You ready for this? As if we weren't expecting this, Square Enix announced a line of layoffs. They are going to be reducing their workforces in the US, the UK, and particularly, I think they said their indie games division, like their smaller games. Those are going to be the ones hit the worst, while I guess the Japanese division is fine. They're not going to have any layoffs. It's all the other divisions are going to have layoffs. Okay? Now, how many? Who specifically will be affected? Has not been announced yet. But this is just in line with everything we've been saying. Layoffs at Xbox. Layoffs at everywhere, right? Can you even name a studio that recently hasn't done layoffs at this point? So, definitely we're seeing a industry-wide, across the board, decline in gaming. And likely it's because of these sales failures. Let's be honest. If Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth actually did the sales they wanted, they wouldn't be doing layoffs. But what happens is they put all their eggs in one basket, right? These two giant games. These are our two big projects for right now. And then doesn't do as well. And I'm sorry. For those of you who like Final Fantasy 16, that's fine. But it's time to now wake the fuck up. The game didn't do well. All right? It did not do well. They wanted it to be the next big thing. It is not the next big thing. It was basically for a smaller audience of people who are just really dedicated to Final Fantasy, or people who really like that game director from, what was it? Doesn't he work on Final Fantasy 14? So people who are fans of that game director like the game, but it did not do as well as they wanted at all. Not even close. All right? It doesn't matter what their PR department says. Final Fantasy 16 was a disappointment. Okay? And so I get the feeling the next Final Fantasy will go in another different direction. I know 16 was a different direction. I guarantee you 17 will be another different direction because this one failed. Now, as for Rebirth, I mean, there's a lot of factors involved in this. For example, number one, the fact that 16 already underperformed kind of rolls into the next game. And that's sad because I think that is stupid. Oh, well, one Final Fantasy game didn't do as well, so now the next one also, the hype is done. I do think that's dumb, but sadly, that's kind of what happens. There's momentum. You know, same thing if Final Fantasy 16 had sold like gangbusters and broke records and was a sales dynamo, probably Rebirth would have done better. But that's not what happened, okay? That's number one. Number two, let's be honest here. We have too many lengthy style RPGs that have come out in the last year. There's been too much of a good thing to the point where now the market has become oversaturated and feels stagnant because it's too much of the same, right? If you sit down for a gourmet meal today and you eat all this amazing food, that's great because then tomorrow you're going back to your regular meals. But imagine if you just had a gourmet meal every day. Now it doesn't really make a big deal anymore because it's just, that's your normal routine. It's samey. It's not special. That's literally what's been happening with RPGs of the last year. There's too many large-scale, giant RPGs coming out that are all 80 hours long, and it oversaturates the market. Just within a few months, we had Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, the Persona 3 Reload re-release, or re-release, I guess modern release. Grand Blue Fantasy, right? That RPG. Then we had Final Fantasy 7. Then we had Dragon's Dogma 2. And I'm almost positive I missed out. I left out one or two there that I forgot about. That's within like a 45-day period. What did you think would happen? Right? Again, I would say this with any other genre, you would agree. If there were 7 FPS games that all released within a month and a half, if there were 7 fighting games that all released within a month and a half, there's no way they would all do well. That is what happened here with Final Fantasy recently. You released amongst an insane amount of samey games, and you cannot have people expect to actually do that well in this climate. Or I say people, you cannot expect every game to do well in this climate, right? You might say, well, some games did. You're right. What games did well? Like a Dragon, Persona 3. Why? Because they came out first. Everyone bought them, everyone was playing them, and then all the other RPGs that came out after were actually on a big decline, right? Now, what's the exception to this? Dragon's Dogma 2. Why? Because there hadn't been a Dragon's Dogma game in over a decade, and people had a lot of faith in Capcom. Okay? But what happened with Dragon's Dogma 2? It released, and on release week, it sold like 2.2 million. And since then, it sold 100,000 copies. That's it. So in over a month and a half, 2 months, it sold only 100,000 copies because people bought it because they pre-ordered it and were like, oh, it's another lengthy, insane open world RPG, and no one else bought it. So this is happening in every industry. Okay, excuse me. This is happening for every company is what I meant to say. I'm really screwing up with my words this morning. Every company's having this issue. It's not just Square Enix, it's other companies too. They're seeing this stagnation. This insane amount of lengthy RPGs that are all open world, tons of extra content. They don't work when there's too many of them. You cannot have 12 of the same kind of game come out within 5 months and expect that they're all going to do well. And that's what happened with Square Enix. Now, maybe if Square Enix had cross-platformed these games and had them PC as well, maybe they would have done better. I agree there. I do think, it really kills me because I feel like the era of exclusivity ended and then it came back, which makes no sense. Like, in the 90s, all Square Enix games were exclusive to PlayStation. I remember that. At first, they were Nintendo, but then when Nintendo refused to go to disc CDs, and PlayStation did, they jumped ship from Nintendo consoles to PlayStation, and you couldn't play Square Enix except on PS1 and then 2 for a very long time. And then during the Xbox 360, PS3 era, it kind of felt like those days were over. Remember, those games were cross-platform, like Final Fantasy was cross-platform, and everyone was like, oh, good. Then all of a sudden, they went back to being exclusive again. For what reason exactly? Like, I'm really lost as to what the advantage is to have your game on just one console if you're a third-party developer. I can get it if you're a first-party developer and you're trying to get people to the console, right? But this just, it drives me nutty, batty, that they thought this was a good strategy. Like, who are they consulting about this actually? To say, gee, is this, you know what I mean? Like, is this a good idea? I just don't feel like it was a good idea at all. I'm kind of at a loss as to who is giving them this advice. So anyway, I want to be sure I have the right leaderboard open. I do. This is obviously good news. If you like Square Enix games and you're not just always on PS5, this is good news. If you just like Square Enix games in general, I still feel like this is good news for the company. It's not that the games they're making are bad. It's just that these are bad business decisions. So hopefully these games will now be cross-platform as they're promising. The bummer is now we got to deal with layoffs again. And now who gets the chop, right? They said it's going to be US, UK, and smaller game divisions. It won't be like their giant ones. And that sucks. You know, I don't want people losing their jobs now again because management made bad decisions, right? Isn't it funny that when management made these awful decisions and it cost the company tons of money, who gets the punishment? The line level employee, like they did something wrong. They did nothing wrong. They don't deserve to lose their jobs. The executives do. Anyway, it's sucky news, but it's good news at the same time, depending on which half of the story I'm talking about. So, all right, guys, that is today's game news. I look forward to talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows when we have, information about it on Wednesday morning. Remember, that's May 15th at 9 a.m. Pacific time, so I'll try to watch it that morning and get caught up so I can talk about it on the show. Okay? Outside of that, boom. That's what we had to talk about. Okay? So, what we'll do now is I'm going to do shout-outs for contributions that have come in. Hold on while I load this screen to do that. And then we will try to open up the Q&A and go from there. Okay? Is the right one? Okay, it is. Good. I always get confused because after React Day, I have like 4 windows open. I have the right window open, right? Anyway, so Brian, if you think that you may be banned on one of my channels, just email me again, and I'll look into it. Hopefully, I'll at least get it. Even if I get it in my spam filter, I'll check my spam filter later today. We'll try to get this sorted out. Same for anyone. If you think you got banned on one of my channels, and you have no idea what's going on or why that would have happened, please email me, and I'll look into it. All right? Okay. Excuse me. So our first contribution of the day. So, what? This is funny. So I just got a $1.55 tip from someone. He says their name is Mr. Crash Bandicoot. I'm just gonna read this. Phil, I sometimes often wonder, do you ask for it sometimes? That take you had in organic food yesterday, spelled incorrectly, has caused outrage between your fans, spelled Y-O-U''re, and detractors alike could have all been avoided. This is all one sentence, by the way. Could have all been avoided if you stick to what you're good at, like, I don't know, maybe video game talk, just a suggestion from an outsider. So I'm going to read this again. Mr. Crash Bandicoot, Phil, I sometimes often wondered you ask for it sometimes. That take you had in organic food yesterday has caused outrage between your fans and detractors alike could have all been avoided if you stick to what you're good at. Oh, I don't know, maybe video game talk, just a suggestion from an outsider. To clarify, yesterday on my React show, I watched a video from a doctor discussing GMOs and the difference between GMOs and organic food. And the discussion is that there's nothing wrong with GMOs. There's no scientific evidence to say that GMOs are worse. In fact, actually, GMOs have less pesticides on them than organic foods usually. Okay? There's no proof that there's increased nutritional value in GMO or non-GMO food at all. They're the same. So it's a myth. Like, literally, the entire video is debunking the myth of GMO hatred and fear that a lot of celebrities and pseudo-scientists on the internet seem to have for no good reason besides maybe personal gain, because probably getting a kickback from those organic companies and stuff like that. So that's all it was. I have no idea what this person is talking about. So my take has outrage between my fans and detractors alike. First of all, I have heard no outrage because it was a React show, right? It was a set to that show. You're right. My main subject matter is not that kind of content, but when I get those videos submitted, I absolutely will watch and react to them. And I literally just reacted to the facts presented in the video. So what you're saying is I caused outrage by speaking factually to a video. Well, then maybe people who are outraged are fucking stupid. Did you ever think about that? If you're outraged because someone presented scientific facts to you, and you don't agree with the facts, that makes you stupid. You get that, right? All the things that we saw in that video were truthful. There's nothing wrong with GMOs. Organic foods are not any better than non-organic foods. There's no scientific evidence to say that or prove that. Literally, tons of scientists have weighed in on the subject and said as much. So unless you're going to present scientific evidence to disprove tons of scientists, you're an idiot. I don't know what else to say. Jade, I will not see you for a few days. That's right. You said you're getting new floors put in, correct? All right. I wish you the best. I hope your new floors come in quickly. And hopefully I see you back when you can make it back as soon as you can. Maybe Friday-ish. I know you said you won't be here for a few days. So this is Mr. Crash Bandicoot. And, you know, thanks for the tip. And I apologize. I can't make people not be stupid. Like, if you really want to follow Gwyneth Paltrow, okay, and believe what she has to say about life, I mean, go right ahead. You have the ability to do that if you'd like. If you want to go with those group of people, if you think they're going to lead you on the way to success and health and prosperity and happiness, you're well to do that. You can follow whoever you want, okay? Right? So, what's hilarious is Selling Indulgences just said, DSP is so sure on this, he takes a shot of Roundup with dinners every day. What are you talking about? Did you not hear what I just said? GMO crops frequently have less pesticides on them than organic crops. Yes, this is true. GMO crops are genetically modified so that bugs will not attack them. So what are you talking about? You're an idiot. Again, you're an idiot. You are literally spreading conspiracy theory stuff when you say shit like that. You're nuts. Anyway. All right. So that's what we got for shout outs so far today. So, guys, today we're going to have a fun stream of another Crab's Treasure, which I hope that you'll stick around for and enjoy with me. In the meantime, we still have some extra time here on the podcast. So tag me in the chat if you would like to talk to me about this stuff. And also, any contributions that come in, I will shout out. As you know, my goal is to hit a $50 tips goal every stream I do. So it'd be great if we could do that by the end of today's stream, but the stream is obviously young. And I appreciate any kind of contribution. Even if it's attached to a ridiculous message like that one, I'll still give it a shout out. Okay? Okay. We have nothing on the YouTube side of stuff right now. So, you know, anything is appreciated, guys. And by the way, obviously, I'm curious, is everything working? Because YouTube screwed everything up this morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, they totally screwed everything up with revenue. I hope that things are working. I saw ads were running on videos and stuff this morning, but obviously I couldn't test other things. So hopefully things are working this morning. David H. says, Square Enix is a new president. The reason for on all consoles is because sales in Japan have dropped. Square wants games on Switch. It's the most popular console of Japan. There you go. We don't have time for suggestion box. We have literally 15 minutes left in the show. I don't have time to answer suggestion box questions. Sorry. We had too much news today. I got a dollar tip from the DanMan9227. Says, I'm banned from your channel, but I'm still watching daily. Okay. Question, me and my brother can't decide on whether to get Pizza Hut or Domino's. Please decide. Don't buy either. They're both terrible. Save your money. You should just eat your money then. If you're going to actually spend money on that, just eat the dollar bills. It'll actually probably have more nutritional value for you and be better for you than if you actually ordered that. That stuff is absolutely terrible for you. And it's also tastes disgusting. It's just gross. I couldn't even believe that they sell it as food. Okay, then. Let's see. Beef Pounder asks, so I think Square Enix will finish the last Final Fantasy VII part on PlayStation. It's a good question. Will they go cross-platform for the last part? That'd be kind of silly because the first two parts wouldn't be cross-platform, but maybe they will. I don't know. Joel Loft, we had a whole segment about that. That was part of the news show. Okay? Have I played GTA 4? Yes, I did. Twice. Right? Didn't I play it really early on, and then I played it again years later? So I'm pretty sure there's like 2 playthroughs of that on DSPGaming. Great game, by the way. I really love GTA 4. If you want to know about the kitty game I played on Friday, I did a mini review of it on Saturday's Level 1 podcast, so check out that podcast. GTA 4 was the first major GTA game I ever played. I had played 1 on PC in the 90s, and then I never played any of the others. And then 4 was my first exposure to the series, and I was blown away because during the 2000s, I was a very frequent visitor to New York City. I used to drive there all the time in order to visit Chinatown Fair and play Street Fighter against the best on the East Coast. So I knew all about the different boroughs of the city and what it was like. And so to play a game like that where it was a virtual representation of the city was awesome. Like, they get it right. I mean, they're not dead on. It's a very small version of New York City. But they kind of get the different districts and the vibe of the city right with the way they built it and the way the people act. I just remember playing the game and being like, holy crap, this is like the best life sim style, right? Of like a virtual city I've been to that I've ever seen in my life. I didn't know games had gotten this good. Remember, I had been ignoring console games for the greater part of a decade to play competitive Street Fighter, and I wasn't playing any, so I didn't even know that games had gone like that. And after I played it, I was super impressed with where video games were going, and that's kind of what got me back into gaming in a major way. Dark Souls Master said, do you think they'll release any good games on the new Nintendo console? Yes. First of all, almost every first-party game on Nintendo consoles is really good, right? There's a few exceptions, but almost every single first-party game is great. It really comes to after the first parties, what else? And that's the question. Like right now, I haven't played a Nintendo game in a bit. I don't even know when the next one is. Like I might play Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remake, but that's a remake, right? Like when's the next genuinely new, interesting Nintendo game coming out? And that seems to be the problem with the console, right? There's a lot of ports that are kind of not as good as how the games are on other consoles. So why would you get them on there if you have other platforms? But I would guarantee you that all the first party games will be good. And I bet you the new Nintendo console will have a new Mario, like the next Mario Odyssey style game, and probably a new Mario Kart. Because those are the two that we haven't had. All we had this entire generation of Switch was a remake of the Wii U version of Kart, which we want a new Mario Kart at this point, right? And we haven't had a new Mario since the Odyssey in the 3D realm. So I think those are going to be the two like launch games. I'm predicting those will probably be launch window games. So there you go. Oh, excuse me. Am I going to play the System Shock game coming out? It's a remake. So I'm interested in it. Right now, I'm finishing the Crab game. I'm continuing with Fallout. I'm playing Street Fighter 6 and then playing the update to Street Fighter 6. I'm going to be playing Hellblade 2. Those are my priorities. Once we get through those, then we determine what's next. Will it be the System Shock remake? It might. We'll see what happens. Will I be returning to Multiverses? Probably I'll at least give it a shot. I'm interested to see, what they've done with it in the last year and a half since it's been out. But I'll be honest, I don't know if it's going to catch on with my audience. It really didn't when I played it, in the summer of 2022. Like, I liked it a lot, and I wanted to keep playing it, and my audience was like, nah, we're bored of it. So, I don't know if it's going to retain interest at all. I guess we'll see. Do I have faith that Assassin's Creed Shadow will be better than Ghost of Tsushima? I have no idea. I'll watch the trailer just like all of you and talk about it and go from there. I don't know anything about it, actually, besides it's just set in Japan. Will I ever change the name of the podcast? Why would I change the name of the podcast, Drew? Well, what's wrong with the Level 1 podcast? Don't you like that name? I think it's a great name. It's become synonymous with me and my content. It's a great, catchy name. Everyone knows it. What's wrong with that name? Exactly. I'm at a loss. Why do I need to rebrand? Exactly. When will we be level 2? To 672. Why do we ever need to be level 2? Is that not the point that I've been making all along? That there's different levels of success that you can have in life. And those people out there that have insane amounts of views, insane amounts of popularity, insane amounts of money, they can be up there where they are. I don't care. I'm happy being down here, normal person on level 1 like you. I don't need to be some sky-high fucking celebrity to be happy and successful in my life. Right now, I am happy. So why would I need to pass level 1 when level 1 is great? Right? Not everyone in life is obsessed with becoming viral or growing to be celebrity status or, normal people don't need that at all. Normal people are happy to just exist and have some positivity and share that positivity with others and have a good life for themselves. I don't need ginormous viral success. I don't want it. I never wanted it. When I started on YouTube in 2008, it was a hobby, and I never thought it would ever blow up. When I started to become popular, I was like, all right, I'm happy where I am. I'm not going to change and sell out and become this fake person, which is what everyone wants me to be, in order to get the bag and make money and whatever. I'm just going to be myself and be true to myself and see what happens. And now here we are, some almost 16 years later, and I am where I am, and I'm still able to do this for a living, and I'm still happy, and I have a great family, and I have a great hangout session with you guys every day. And I have no problems with that whatsoever. So why do I need to be above level 1, right? Remember, that's what Keemstar said. That's where the name came from, that I'm forever stuck on level 1. I like level 1. A lot of people like level 1. We don't all have to be big egomaniacs trying to be the absolute best person on earth. We're not all at cutthroat competition with each other. Some of us are just happy to be good people and share those great positive experiences with others and just say, leave me alone. But that's what some people don't get who are egomaniacs. They just think, I've got to be the best. I got to be the best, better than everyone, So there you go. Was I ever into sports drinks like Powerade or Gatorade? Yeah, when I was younger, I did drink Gatorade, and it was always like that lemon lime one was the one I drank the most. Um, but then I realized I don't need them. I'm not an athletic person. That's supposed to be people who are basically working out all the time and they need to replenish their electrolytes. If you're not working out all the time and sweating constantly, you have no need to drink Gatorade. You're putting all these things into your body you don't need, and all it's going to happen is your body's going to piss them right out. So it's just a complete waste. There's no reason to buy or drink Gatorade or Powerade unless you're basically an athlete. So that's why I stopped drinking it. I literally just explained that, Maximum Turbo. You didn't hear it? So a year or two ago, Keemstar was insulting me publicly on his Twitter account, and he did this big rant video about me, right? And in it, he said that DSP will always be stuck on level 1. You know, everyone else surpassed him. He's a loser because he's stuck on level 1. To which I responded, "What's wrong with level 1? It's a nice place to be. To have a small, dedicated following of people who like who I am and what I do, to be able to do my own thing and not have to abide by anyone else's rules or answer to anyone else because I don't have sponsors or partners or have to worry about, oh, I'll piss someone off and lose a big revenue stream or something like that, right? And the fact that I can have this positive, intimate relationships with you guys every day, we can talk like this, right? If I were bigger, we wouldn't be able to do that. And the fact that I've been running for 16 years and I'm still able to make a living, right? But that's what some people just don't understand that. They think, well, that's failure. That's failure? Why exactly is that failure? Explain. Oh, well, you could have been way bigger. If you had ridden the trends and did all the viral things, the thumbnails, the clickbait titles, the drama content, and all of that, you would have been much bigger. I don't care. I don't want to be bigger. I really have no intention of being bigger. I like where I am. I like who I am. I like that I never had to change to get ahead, and I never stepped on people to get where I am. So basically, I'm the anti-Keemstar, and I'm very happy with that. So that's where I got the name from. He used it as an insult. I used it as a badge of honor. I'm happy to be at level 1 and still successful. Thank you for telling me that. And now I will proudly display that every day when I start up my stream. Do I count Marisa as a top tier? She is not a top tier. No, she is not. At best, she's mid. She has a lot of limitations. Basically, with Marisa, if your opponent makes mistakes, you can monstrously capitalize. And she has a few good strategies in the corner, but for the most part, she is a simpler character. And in my opinion, she just cannot hang with the top tiers. The top tiers dominate her. What's up, Game Boy? How are you today? Welcome to the stream. Oh, Soul Potato says very few people are ever content in their lives, so I'm happy for you. Well, this is the thing. Like I've been saying, it's not possible for me to have a midlife crisis. It's literally not possible. I'm 42 years old. This would be when I would have my midlife crisis, right? I can't have one. My life today is better than it was when I was younger. When I was younger, I was unhealthy. I was alcoholic. I was lonely and depressed. I didn't like who I was. I didn't know where my life was going, right? Like my younger self is the inferior version of myself. Today, I look better than I ever did before. I know that's sad because my face is disgusting, but I still actually look better than I ever did before. I feel better than I ever did. I have a better job than I have ever had. I have a great home life with my family. Like, this is the better version of me. So that's what I mean. Like, why? How could I have a midlife crisis? It's not even possible. I'm better now. I would never want to go back to the days when I was younger. I don't like myself from when I was younger. When I was a dumbass troll in the Street Fighter community, I don't fucking like that. I don't ever want to go back to being like that. You know? I don't know about Akuma. I haven't played with him yet. I don't have opinions on characters until I actually play with them, because then I can give you an educated opinion as opposed to just completely worthless speculation, which is what a lot of people do on the internet. Oh, as soon as Akuma was released, here comes 700 React trailers. Here comes opinion videos. You didn't fucking play the character yet, stupid. You don't know anything about it. You gotta play it first, then you can have an opinion. It's just fluff content. I don't make fluff content. Oh, my nose is bothering me today. I don't have the air conditioner on today. It's actually not as hot outside. We had a really warm weekend here, and now it's actually cooled down outside. Today it is only currently 64 degrees outside. So because of that, it's not as hot today inside. It's about 80 in here. So I may just leave the fan on. But if it does hit like 85-ish, then I got to turn the air conditioner on again. Do I miss having infinite time to play video games? No. I much rather like having a balance. I like the fact that I have a life outside of being in this office playing games, and I have more interesting things to do than just being here playing games all day. I like playing games. I like hanging out with you guys, but I need that separation. I need that life and work separation. You understand? Without it, it would be too much of the same thing, and I would basically be like completely overdone with this too much, and I get tired, you know? I would get burnt out. I'm glad that I have that separation. JDS, I already told you. I guess you missed it. I know you're not going to be around for a few days. I know you're getting your floors fixed or whatever. I wish you the best, and I'll see you when you come back. Like you said, probably like Friday, right? So cool. I'll see you then, man. But once again, I hope that everything is working. The reason I say that is we have 0 contributions on the YouTube side today. Not a single super chat, not a single membership, not even a membership notification. So I hope that things are working, because like I said, YouTube was broken this morning. I do hope that everything's, fine. I can't tell. It's a rarity when nothing happens on the podcast. So that's why I'm a little nervous of that maybe they broke it or something. I hope they didn't. I really hope they fucking didn't. I saw this morning, like I said, I tried to open one of my videos in another browser and an ad did play, and I was like, okay, so it must be working. Anything else you guys want to talk about this morning? You guys are, it's weird, we have over 400 people, but you guys are kind of quiet today. I don't know what's going on. Why are you so quiet? Usually on a stream like today, we have a lot of people talking, and today's it's like really slow. Would I ever buy a boat? No. That's probably one of the last things on my mind for any investment. Mr. iGamer popped their 7-month membership notification, so at least that worked. Thank you, Mr. iGamer. Do spiders in video games scare me? No. I'm not afraid of bugs to that extent. Maybe a jump scare, but that's about it. I don't have like a phobia. I don't have arachnophobia. Is Jasper the first pet I've ever had? No. When I was younger, I had many pets. 2 rabbits, hamsters. Did I have anything else? Oh, I had hamsters twice. I had 2 rabbits when I was young, and hamsters when I was young, and then I had hamsters again when I first moved out here 10 years ago. So Jasper is just my latest pet. Do we get big spiders here? We can get big spiders. When I first moved in, there actually were quite a few big spiders. But now that we have Jasper, they never get that big because Jasper takes care of them when they're little. He loves to hunt spiders. KMF, thank you. 4 months as a supporter. Says woohoo with the party horn. Thank you, KMF. I appreciate that. So it's unclear when some people are going to hit their 3 years as a member. In fact, I'll check again right now because the 3-year anniversary should be really, really close for some people. Let me take a look here. If I go to the membership tab on the page, right here, and I go to member activity, see your members, and I click on total time as a member, we're still at 35 months. I don't know what the exact date will be that people will hit 36. But everyone right now is at 35 months. And there's a lot. Wow. There's a lot of people at 35 months. In fact, probably about 30 to 40 people who are on 35 months. And there's quite a few also on 34 months. So it looks like within the next few weeks to month, we should finally have some people hitting their diamond crowns. Oh, and by the way, we also have a new crown that was created. I don't know if I uploaded it, though. There will be a new crown for 4-year members. And this one is going to be an emerald crown. Emerald green, which is going to be really cool. It'll stand out in the chat, but we got to wait another year for that. Peter Littleton, thank you for 2 months as a member. No, I did not get to see the Aurora Borealis. And Jordan, with a super chat, says, is the crab game coming soon? Yes, it is. In fact, we're about to adjourn our show in just a minute here. And when we do, the crab game is coming. Yes, it is. Indeed. Thank you, Jordan. So, okay, everything's working. We got our test now, and everything seems to be working. So thank you guys for the testing. All right. I think it's time to wrap up the show. I want to say thank you to everyone who chilled with me and enjoyed the news and everything. Thanks for a great podcast. Tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be telling you all about how the crab game went, as well as if Helldivers 2 worked. Coming back, you know, I don't know if it's going to work. We have to find out. But I'm very curious to see. And thank you all for a great show. See you tomorrow morning.